You're lying in bed and your brain is playing the same 15-second conversation on a loop. Something they said, the way their voice changed, how they paused before answering. You're scanning it like footage, looking for the moment it shifted. You think maybe you said too much, or not enough, or the wrong thing in the wrong tone, and now everything feels different. Here's what you tell yourself. They're upset. They're pulling back. You ruined it. You read the situation wrong, and now you're paying for it, and if you could just figure out exactly what you did, you could fix it. But that's not what's actually happening. The conversation ended hours ago, maybe days ago. It's over. What's not over is what your brain keeps doing with it. This isn't about what was said, it's about the fact that your mind won't let it close. You're not analyzing the conversation anymore. You're feeding it. You're rewinding, replaying, reinterpreting, adding meaning that wasn't there, building entire narratives out of a pause or a period at the end of a text. You've done this before, last month with a different person, last year with someone else. The details change, but the pattern doesn't. Something feels uncertain and your brain locks onto it, like a task it has to solve. It doesn't matter if the other person has moved on. You're still there crawling through subtext that might not exist. This is the part most people miss. They think overthinking is about being careful or being anxious or caring too much. It's not. It's a loop, a learned one. Your brain is doing something specific and it's following steps you didn't consciously choose. Somewhere along the way, you taught yourself that replaying a conversation could protect you from being blindsided, that if you could just understand it perfectly, you'd be safe. So now your brain does it automatically. It thinks it's helping. But here's what actually happens. The loop doesn't give you clarity, it gives you more questions. Every time you replay it, you notice something new. A word, a tone, a gap in the response time. And each new detail becomes another thing to solve. You're not getting closer to the truth. You're getting further from the present moment. You're living in the gap between what happened and what you're afraid it means. There's a reason. This feels so familiar. This isn't random. It's not your personality. It's not because you're broken or too sensitive. Your brain built this response because at some point it worked. Or it thought it did. Maybe you avoided conflict once by reading someone perfectly. Maybe you caught a lie because you paid attention. And your nervous system filed that away as a strategy. Now it runs that strategy whether you need it or not. You can feel it happening. That tightness in your chest when you don't hear back right away. The way your focus narrows when someone's energy shifts even slightly. The need to know, to understand, to confirm what you're sensing before it's too late. You're not imagining the shift. You're just overestimating what it means and underestimating how much of this reaction is coming from inside you, not from them. There's a system behind this. Your brain isn't malfunctioning. It's following a pattern it learned a long time ago. And the reason you keep ending up here, in the same mental place with different people, is because the loop isn't about them. It's about what your mind does when it feels uncertain. That's the part we need to look at. Here's what happens in the space between noticing and reacting. Someone's tone shifts slightly. Maybe they take longer to respond. Maybe they use a period instead of an exclamation point. Your brain registers it immediately, not as information, as threat. And the moment it does, your body is already moving before your thoughts catch up. Your chest tightens first. Then your focus narrows. Everything else in your environment fades, and suddenly you're thinking about this one thing. What did I do? What does this mean? What's about to happen? Your nervous system just went from calm to scanning in under 3 seconds, and now you're in it. This is the part people don't talk about. The overthinking doesn't start in your head. It starts in your body. Your brain notices something uncertain, and your nervous system treats uncertainty like danger. Because a long time ago, uncertainty was dangerous. Not knowing where you stood with someone meant you couldn't predict their behavior. An unpredictable behavior in someone you depend on is a survival problem. So your brain learned to fill in the gaps, fast. It takes incomplete information and builds a story around it. Because a bad story feels safer than no story. You'd rather be wrong than be caught off guard. That's the trade your nervous system made without asking you. Here's how the loop actually works. Your brain detects a signal, a shift, a gap, something that doesn't match the pattern you expected. Immediately, it assigns meaning. They're upset. They're done. I messed up. That meaning triggers a physical response. Your heart rate changes. Your breathing gets shallow. Your body is now in a low-level stress state. And when your body is in that state, your brain starts looking for evidence to confirm the threat. It's not trying to be accurate. It's trying to be prepared. So you start scanning. You go back through old messages. You replay past conversations. You look for clues you missed, and you always find something. Because when you're looking for proof that something is wrong, your brain will highlight every ambiguous moment and frame it as confirmation. That's not paranoia. That's pattern recognition in overdrive. Your brain is doing exactly what it was built to do. It's just doing it in a context where the threat isn't real. The problem is what happens next. You reach out. You ask if everything's okay. You over-explain. You try to fix something that might not be broken. And sometimes that behavior creates the distance you were afraid of. Because now you've made the other person responsible for reassuring you. You've turned a neutral moment into an emotional task. And if they pull back even slightly, your brain says, "See, I knew it." The loop just proved itself right. This is why the pattern keeps repeating. It's self-reinforcing. Your fear of abandonment triggers behavior that can push people away. Then that distance confirms the original fear. And your nervous system files it as more evidence that uncertainty equals danger. So next time, it reacts even faster. But here's the part that changes everything. Your brain isn't trying to hurt you. It's trying to protect you. It learned that staying hypervigilant kept you safe. Maybe you grew up in an environment where you had to read the room to survive. Maybe someone important to you was inconsistent, and you learned to monitor their mood to avoid conflict. Maybe you were blindsided once, and your brain decided never again. Whatever the origin, this response made sense at some point. It worked, or at least it felt like it did. The issue is that your nervous system doesn't update automatically. It's still running the same program it built years ago, even though your circumstances changed. You're not in danger anymore. But your body doesn't know that yet. It's still reacting like uncertainty is a crisis. And until you interrupt that reaction, the loop will keep running. Not because you're broken, because you're wired for a threat level that no longer matches your life. That's what we're actually dealing with. And that's where the shift begins. So what does this pattern actually cost you? Not in some dramatic way, just quietly, over time. It takes your evenings, the hours you spend replaying something that already happened instead of being present for what's in front of you. It takes your energy, the mental load of managing fears that haven't come true yet. It takes your relationships, not all at once, but in small ways. The over-explaining, the need for reassurance, the way you sometimes create the distance you're trying to avoid. And maybe the biggest cost is this. It takes your confidence in your own perception. Because when you're constantly second-guessing what someone meant or how they feel, you stop trusting what you actually know. You start believing your anxiety over your experience. And that gap between what you feel and what you trust gets wider every time the loop runs. But here's what the pattern is actually trying to do. It's trying to keep you safe. It's trying to give you control in situations where you feel vulnerable. It's trying to prevent the pain of being blindsided or abandoned or misunderstood. Your brain would rather exhaust you with worry than let you be hurt without warning. That's the trade it made. And for a long time, maybe that trade made sense. The thing is, this isn't who you are. This is a response your nervous system learned, probably early, probably when you didn't have another option. And it worked well enough that your brain kept it. But you're not that version of yourself anymore. You're not in the same circumstances. You have more tools now, more awareness, more capacity to sit with uncertainty without turning it into catastrophe. Your brain just hasn't updated the program yet. So the shift isn't about stopping the thoughts. It's about noticing them differently. When your mind starts replaying that conversation, you don't have to follow it all the way through. You can notice it happening. You can say, okay, this is the loop. This is my nervous system doing its thing. That small moment of recognition creates space. And in that space, you get to choose whether to engage with the thought or let it pass. Here's the micro shift. Next time you feel that tightness in your chest, that pull to analyze and replay, pause for 5 seconds. Just 5. Notice what your body is doing. Notice the urge to reach out or seek reassurance. And ask yourself one question. Is this reaction matching what's actually happening right now, or is it matching something that happened before? You don't have to answer it perfectly. You just have to ask it. That question interrupts the loop. It separates feeling from fact. And that separation is where change starts. This pattern doesn't define you. It's something you experience. Something your brain does when it feels uncertain. And the more you see it as a pattern instead of a personality trait, the less power it has. You're not overthinking because you're anxious or broken or too much. You're overthinking because your brain learned to treat uncertainty as danger. And now you're learning something different. You're learning that you can feel the fear without letting it write the story. That's not nothing. That's everything.